Good afternoon. No, it's evening for you guys. Good evening, everyone. It's time for one of our final matches here for the Swiss stage of DMV rivals. Fortnite and Bumbo Aura Farmers, both currently undefeated, looking to see who can get the perfect 5-0 through this Swiss stage. We are a good ways along into draft, but we do see some of those high priority bot lane picks with the Ziggs, with the Senna already being taken early on. Zero domain. Actually, wait. Double check here. Okay, that makes more sense. The sides are flipped. I was a bit concerned because I was like, Quasty would be playing Senna. Zero domain would be playing Syndra, so we'll flip that right over as Fortnite ends up going with the Camille. Camille, obviously very nice to be able to lock down someone so that they take the full brunt of the Ziggs ultimate. But given that we already see the Nautilus, does feel like it's going to be kind of a blind pick for the Camille. And they're going to try to somewhat protect it with the Varus ban there. But also expect to see something like the Aatrox, just because it's a champion that Nightstone has been pretty good on. And a lot of people like that matchup into Camille early on, even if it's kind of a skill matchup. Aatrox is pretty good as far as the early lane is concerned. LeBlanc also banned away from Jason the Other as a matchup that Syndra does not like to see all too often. Yeah, looks like across the board it is going to be no subs, so both teams operating at full strength as Vladimir, the final ban for Fortnite, as last week they had Nightstone sub in for them in the mid lane, and they saw the power of his Vladimir firsthand. So some ranged top options being taken off the board to try to protect this Camille. And Victor, the immediate counter pick into the Syndra. Solid mid lane matchup there. But still need to see what Bumbo Aura Farmers wants to do for that top side of the map. They do have to kind of blind pick a jungler here. That tends not to matter as much with the individual jungle 1v1. But it does mean that Fortnite himself will get to see the entire enemy team before making his selection. We will have the Gwen locked in. Could go to Bumbo, could go to Nightstone. Does feel like if you throw a jungle, don't have too much CC between your mid jungle, but just relying on a Syndra scatter. And, you know, double mages between mid and jungle. Not something most teams like to do. So it will be a Gwen top for Nightstone up into that Camille. And they're going to grab the Shinzao for Fortnite. Now, looking across all this, Fortnite in the jungle gonna have to decide what he wants to go with here. There certainly are a ton of mage picks that Fortnite has liked to play, but when you're playing Ziggs, when you're playing Victor, I don't expect those to be the option. And yeah, this is going to be the first AD mid laner Fortnite has played all tournament. Here with the Monkey King getting some AoE down to really help the dive. Get all this Ziggs damage across, provide some good bruiser damage with the two mages. Okay. So this actually makes a bit more sense based on what we're getting here, as it seems like on the side of Fortnite, they will be flexing Jason the Other to the jungle position for the Wukong and putting Fortnite on the mid lane in the Victor. Now, does make a bit more sense where, as I mentioned, the side of Fortnite, they love the AP junglers. They've never had to put Jason on jungle. They've been fine playing the Lilias, the Mumus, the Dianas, the Lilias, right? But in this game where you're putting this high priority on the Ziggs, putting this high priority on the Victor counter into the Syndra, definitely need an AD jungle, and they are comfortable with Jason the Other piloting that champion. Obviously, Jason the Other won DMV Rivals Summer, actually DMV Rivals Winter in the jungle role. So this was one of his better picks throughout there, and certainly a champion that he will be more than proficient on. As the teams figure out exactly everything they need to do before getting into match, there are some stakes we're going to line up here. So obviously, top of the table standings, going undefeated in Swiss. That's all well and good for these two teams, the Aura Farmers and Fortnite. But with the last chance qualifier being next week, they actually hold the fate of two other teams here that are competing for that 10th seed. It was an accident, I swear, and 5 with potential are the two remaining options for that final slot into the last chance qualifier. It was an accident is going to be rooting for Fortnite due to how their opponent strength score is going to pair out after that. Whereas 5 with potential would really like the opposition in Bumbo to pick up the win. If everything with opponent strength pans out and evens out after the course of today's games, 5 with potential does have the slight edge with a minute faster game time. You can debate whether that's a silly tiebreak or not. I would not disagree, but them's the breaks. So the side of it was an accident needs some help here to leapfrog into playoffs. Yeah, looking across at both these teams, I mean, I think if you're on the side of Bumbo, you got all the champs you really want to play. You've got Zero Domain on his Syndra. You got Quasti on the Senna. You've got Xin Zhao for Bumbo. A lot of picks that they've performed very well on. FaZe, unfortunately, this is going to be his first champion that he has repeated this tournament. Bit of a loss of points there, but still, the Rel obviously provides some good engage into this Ziggs and Victor that are going to be trying to space them out and keep them at arm's length. But, I mean, the Rel, yeah, she can definitely set up for the Gwen, set up for Xin Zhao. She does not have anywhere near the Wombo combo potential that Fortnite is having when they send in their big knockups of the Wukong and the Nautilus, with Ziggs Bomb coming over the top, with Camille trying to dive in on the backline and assassinate the Senna. So certainly going to be an interesting one here, especially given that this is the first game that Fortnite has flipped the mid jungle. And away we go for game number 1 between these two 4-0 teams. Who's going to be able to get that number 1 seed? And who's going to get that number 10 seed? Based on how all the tiebreakers pan out. Bit of spice as we've got both top laners taking the Ignite here. The Camille was a blind pick for Kuromi. We'll see how that one's able to go. Nightstone, meanwhile, he's the secret agent, right? He subbed in the mid lane for Fortnite last week, so he's got all the insider knowledge. And so we'll see if he's able to pay that off here with the Gwen pick. Both teams able to get that usual initial first ward onto the Raptors, but Nightstone actually getting a bit low. A Q2 and Ignite goes out, and Nightstone, is he gonna burn away? No, not quite. So Kuromi trying to press that advantage with the Camille. Does burn the Ignite, will force a back out of Nightstone. So he is going to have to kind of just chug his potions and try to get this wave underneath his tower. He should pick up level 2, and he does. Kuromi's still going to go for it. Ignite drop. It's first blood to the Camille. She will die for it, but she denies some of the wave crashing in to the tower topside. Is a cannon for Nightstone, so it is going to push out a bit, but without TP, he is going to lose quite a bit, so I don't think you're too unhappy as Kuromi to trade that 1-for-1, but meanwhile, in the mid lane, Fortnite has to flash away. As Bumbo was hot on his trail, and it was a 3-camp gank for Bumbo, and now he's going to be on the same side as his Wukong. Nice chain from Chain User. They get the satchel back on the Quasti, but the 2-man stun on the Lance of Phase means that there's no real follow-up. Kakma also low on mana. So it was a good angle from Chain User on the anchor, but they don't really get much out of it. Chain trying to step up, force some respect out of this Senna. We have Jason the other up into the top side. Full range hook shot from Kuromi to try to continue pressing Nightstone up here, but does have to kind of call it off. Kuromi's going to have the wave in a pretty solid state as it's coming back into him with his jungler on the side. And they know Xin Zhao's tempo is a bit weaker because he had to go for that mid gank early on. So Jason has the level 4, is going to get the crab. Bumbo's going to skip the blue, and I mean, Jason should be perfectly fine opting in for this. He has level advantage. He has his top laner around. Bumbo's going to get a nice flash away from the hook shot. And that is the cost of that attempt at mid gank. You get Fortnite's flash, but now you don't have the camp clears to contend with the Wukong. And now Wukong's going to gank your mid laner anyway. Zero Domain is a-okay. But it is going to be a double crab here for Jason the other. Meanwhile, Nightstone is able to get the crash into the top tower. Kuromi wasn't willing to just kind of hold away because he wanted to make sure he was available for his jungler that was going for the play on to Bumbo. So still a solid state for Kuromi thus far. Does have to operate against the flash, but is going to continue to trade out fairly well. Is Kuromi getting aggressive up here again? Nightstone trying to get the damage off, and it's just barely Kuromi with the solo kill. Yeah, so for now, this Gwen counter that Nightstone opted into against Kuromi's Camille is not panning out too well. Both of them took kind of full stock into the 1v1 with the Ignite, but right now it is Kuromi with the edge. Meanwhile, back in the mid lane, Fortnite doing a pretty solid job here as the victor. His first mid game thus far this tournament. Doing well in CS, but of course Zero Domain has some advantages thus far with forcing him out here. Fortnite doesn't have a TP. Does need some help from Chain User. And so that should allow Fortnite to reset that wave. Chromie has the level 6 advantage. Finds the hookshot into the Hextech ultimatum and is looking to full combo Nightstone all the way. Back to his found, but he's not quite able to get it. Forces Nightstone back, and the Shinzao is around in case Chromie goes for a dive, but the wave's not quite there. So they also have Phase up here, so they are really trying to bail out Nightstone. Chromie will see the approach from the Rel. Wukong up on this side as well, so everyone trying to get involved in the top lane scrap. But Chromie just going to go straight for the throat here. Nightstone again being dove on top. This time he flashes away, and this time it is Chromie paying the price for his greed. There's a nice flash out by Nightstone as now Jason the Other wants to continue fighting. And it's going to be support versus jungle. Chain User hooks on in. Bumbo now finding the knockup onto Jason. Nice crash down out of phase. Zero Domain is here to the play first. Jason is able to find the damage onto Bumbo. Now hits level 6 as Zero Domain can't find the kill with the unleashed power. And now the Senna ultimate coming in over the top, but it's not doing all too much as FaZe has to flash away. Fortnite looking for more with the Chaos Storm. But I think they're going to call it off here. Oh, meanwhile, the Zig's actually getting a very nice chunk onto Quasti. Pokemon going to throw out the Mega Inferno Bomb. Barrier burned by Senna. So Pokemon trying to take advantage of the alone time he's got with the Senna. Both supports wanting to get involved in the top lane, but right now Chromie still with the lead, despite not being able to find the kill on the dive. Certainly saw on the extended play that, you know, Jason the Other, because he got the double scuttle, you would expect, hey, he's going to come to these fights early with the level 6. But speaking of, Hawkmaw is now going to be hit up by Bumbo, who's going to flash forward and slap him down with the lance. So nice punish there from Bumbo, finding an opportunity on the Shinzao. Dragon is available. We see Chromie actually cheating down into the mid lane. Does have the ulti. Zero Domain has his flash, so he should be able to evade a hookshot and get back to relative safety, or just use a scatter. Chromie was trying to flash over it. Zero Domain will still burn his flash for safety there. So Chromie thought he could slip and slide into the mid lane. Not meant to be. Will be able to get back up top without losing too much. Certainly like the attempted play. Zero Domain's gonna drop the ulti. Fortnite just barely gonna stay alive through all the orbs. Same can be said for Zero Domain.